Okay, sit yourself on your lift and then come into a good cross leg position. Just have a little wriggle about. Make sure that you feel that you're sitting evenly. And hold onto your knees. Just elevate your heart area upwards, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Just listen to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. Keeping the shoulders down away from your ears, draw your chin down to meet your chest. So that you feel the back of your neck stretching out. Take a deep inhalation, and with an exhalation, raise the chin up to the ceiling, stretching the front of the neck. Pushing the chin up to the ceiling to create tension across the front of the neck. Take a deep inhalation. With an exhalation, just draw your chin back down towards the chest, just stretching out the back of the neck. So this is good, especially if you've got a headache, just to kind of stretch out around the neck. But doing it in combination with the breath brings quietness. Take a deep inhalation, and then on the exhalation, raise the chin up. Take a deep inhalation, and then on the exhalation, just bring the head back level. Take a deep breath, and then draw your right ear down towards your right shoulder, just lengthening out the left side of the neck. Just feeling that you stretch along that left side, so stretching from the left ear down into the left shoulder. Take a deep inhalation and then come back to the center. Take a deep in breath, and on the out breath, draw that left ear over to the left shoulder. Stretching out the right side of the neck so that you stretch out into the shoulder. Even sometimes you feel the stretch all the way down into the arm, maybe even into the fingers. Take a deep inhalation and then come back to the center, and on the same exhalation, go over to the right. So just observing the quietness that comes from just this focused stretch of the neck. Take a deep inhalation, come back to the center, and then on the same out breath, if you can, bring left ear to left shoulder. And then deep inhalation, and then bring your chin back to the center. Hold onto your knees, pull against your knees so that you can really lift the heart area upwards, drawing your shoulders down, just stretching out our morning tiredness. Lifting up into the heart area, drawing your shoulders down, and then bring your hands into Namaste. Lengthen from the armpits into the elbows, squeezing the elbows in towards each other so that you press into the heels of the hands. Try and get the forearms so that they're parallel, so that the hands come down a little lower, so that the wrists are in line with the elbows. And then with an exhalation, gently allow your eyes to close. Focus on filling the lungs from the bottom to the top, breathing evenly into both lungs. And then breathing evenly out of both lungs. Just listening to the sound of your breath as it enters and as it exits. And with an exhalation, draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude, thankfulness for something or someone or somewhere. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in your heart area, and then release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And then as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Just hold onto your knees, elevate the heart area up towards the ceiling, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Take a deep inhalation in through the nose. And then with an exhalation, turn to the right side. Just observe how that feels for you today, whether there is resistance, freedom in the movement, just acknowledging where your physical body is this morning. Continuing to take deep inhalations, filling the lungs from the bottom to the top, but from the side to the side, from the front to the back. Using the out breath to intensify the turn. And then come back to the center, hold onto your knees, lift up into the chest, elevating the heart area upwards, and then turn to the left. Again, just acknowledging any tension, any resistance. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. And then gently come back to the center. Just come off your lift and then sit back on your heels and have a bolster for between your knees. If you haven't got a bolster, you can use some cushions, and then lift up into the chest. So the bolster helps you to maintain the lift of the chest. So as you come forwards, trying to keep the seat bones down on the heels, just come forwards, lengthening the front chest. So you might find it a little more difficult to keep the seat bones down. If your seat bones are kind of miles away, then use a blanket between the seat bones and the heels so that you can maintain that connection between the seat bones and the heels, stretching forwards. And then you can rest your chin or your forehead, but notice that when you rest your forehead, the chances are you drop the chest. So keep looking forwards, resting the chin, driving the chest forwards, just listening to the breath. So if you've got a headache, you can rest your head on one side. Keep pressing the seat bones down into the heels, just swapping the side of your head that you rest on, just to stretch out the neck. There's a lot of a headache revolves around the neck, or brings tension into the neck. Just inflating the lungs, extending into the arms deeply. So it feels, when you have your chin on the bolster, when the chin is forwards, it feels like your kind of neck gets a little trapped around the shoulders. So consciously broaden the shoulders away from the neck, almost like you want to rotate the little fingers more firmly down into the floor and lift the thumbs off the floor so that you loosen and give yourself space in the neck. So rotating the upper arms in the sockets, rotating the crease of the elbows almost up towards the ceiling, just to release that tension in the neck. And then sit yourself up. Just move your bolster so you can rest your head on it, and then just come onto all fours. Turn your toes under, have your feet as wide apart as your mat, and then come into dog down. Again, resting your forehead. So when you use the bolster for your head, there's a temptation that you bend your elbows so that your head reaches the bolster. Or if the bolster's too much, then maybe you should use some blocks instead. So use the bolster just to support the forehead rather than to bend your elbows. Keep the arms straight, keep the legs straight, tightened at the kneecaps, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards so the heels start to separate. Concentrate on feeling the lungs from the bottom to the top, from the side to the sides, from the front to the back. Okay, step your feet forwards, come up into a standing position. Just have your bolster, and you're going to use that for your head. Have your feet wide apart as your mat, and then just have your hands on your hips, lift up into the chest, and then hinge at the hips. As you hinge at the hips, come forwards, resting your forehead on the bolster, and then have blocks under your hands if you need them, or reach down to the floor. Just resting your forehead into your bolster. Activating your legs as you would normally, so you're tightening your kneecaps, pressing the fronts of the thighs through to the backs of the thighs, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards. Just breathing even and deep inhalations and exhalations. Listening to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. And then bring your hands into your hips. Just come up into a standing position. And then just come into Tadasana. With your inner edge of the feet together. Just lifting up into the chest. Breathing even, deep inhalations and exhalations. And then stretch out your arms, interlock the fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and then raise your arms over your head, Padangaliasana. So stretching your arms beyond your ears if possible, but without doing this, without kind of just pushing everything forward. So keep the legs back, keep the weight in your heels, tuck the tailbone in, lift the abdomen up to the diaphragm region, draw the lower ribs towards the spine, lift from the heart area to the ceiling. Just release your arms, interlock the fingers the other way, the unnatural way, so that the other index finger is on the top of the stack. And then turn the palms all the way out. And again, raise your arms. Again, fill in the lungs from the bottom to the top, from the center of the heart area into the armpit chest, from side to side, and from the front of the lungs to the back. And then release your arms, just stretch your arms down to the floor. Just breathing even, deep inhalations and exhalations. We're going to do the eagle pose. So we just stretch your arms out, and then just stretch your arms out in front, and then bring the right hand lower, the left hand above the right hand, and then just cross the arms. And then reach around the tops of the shoulders, or the sides of the shoulders, so that you kind of try and prise your shoulder blades apart, so that you're trying to kind of get the fingers to stretch towards each other behind you. So this will make you kind of overshoot in that bottom elbow will kind of overshoot the top elbow. So that's what we want. So keep trying to creep the hands a little closer together, almost prizing the shoulder blades apart, almost rounding the back at this stage, which we'll correct in a moment. But just feel that you can really open up the backs of the shoulders. It's a good feeling because you don't open the shoulders in that way very often. So the bottom arm, so the elbow, the bottom elbow, just straighten that arm and then lift it up to the ceiling. So you keep the upper elbow kind of locked in the crease of the elbow, and then straighten the left arm. Turn the palm of that left hand, and then see if you can bring your palms of your hands together. So lengthen from your shoulders into your elbows, from your elbows into the fingertips. So ideally you get the palms to touch, but as you see, I've struggled with that, but I'm just kind of touching it's one, I've kind of roughly got the palms together. Some people have to just get hold of the thumb, or you can always just hold on to, have a belt around the thumb and just hold on wherever you can. But lengthen from the armpits to the elbows, lift the fingertips up towards the ceiling, drawing the forearms away from the face, drawing your shoulders away from your ears. And just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Fill in the lungs completely. Activating your legs in Tadasana. And then gently release. Just let the shoulders go, let the arms go. So breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Stretch into the fingertips. Just feel the openness around the shoulders. So stretch your arms out in front, and this time bring your left hand underneath the right hand, and then reach and try and prise open the shoulder blades. So the bottom arm, bring that up to face the ceiling, lock in the other elbow in place, straighten that right hand, turn the palm up to face the ceiling, and then try and bring the palms together. Lengthen from the armpits into the elbows, from the elbows up into the fingertips, lifting the arms up to the ceiling, drawing the forearms away from the face. Activating the legs in Tadasana, lifting up into the chest. Breathing even deep inhalations and exhalations. So sometimes we want to do this. We want to bring the hands to the head, but you lengthen the fingers up to the ceiling so that the elbows lift, and then you draw the forearms away from the face. Okay, and then gently release, and then just feel the openness of your shoulders. Breathe even deep inhalations and exhalations, and then raise your arms up to the ceiling, interlock, bring the thumbs into the crease of the elbows, wrap the fingers around the elbows, turn the toes in, and then hang forwards. If you've got a bad back, just bring your elbows onto the back of a chair or a tabletop. Otherwise, just stretch. Get yourself down into the floor. Activating the legs firmly in Tadasana. So lift from the heels up into the backs of the knees, up into the seat bones. Keeping the heels down on the floor. Keeping the heels heavy by hitting your shins back consciously. Just feel the opening around the shoulders and the back of the neck. So let the head hang down. And then release your hands down to the floor, bring your hands into your hips, and then come up into a standing position. Just come back into Tadasana, just lift up into the chest. Breathe even deep inhalations and exhalations. So that stage of garudasana is just the arms, but the full pose is where we incorporate the legs as well. So you might want somewhere to help you to balance for this. So if you're really unsure of your balance, you can do this against the wall. Have your feet away from the wall and you just bend your knees and slide away from the wall, or just have something nearby that you know that you're going to be able to just bring your hand onto if you kind of need a little bit more balance. So the legs kind of mimic the arms a little bit. So you're going to be in Tadasana and then bend your knees like you're going to go up into Utkatasana, the chair pose. So you bend your knees and then spread the toes deeply of the left foot and then raise the right knee up to the ceiling. So at this stage, you can just get hold around the front knee and then lift the chest, drive the chest upwards. Bring the knee as high up as you can. Flexing the heel, lifting up into the chest. So just see if you can just find your balance. Just holding onto the knee, lifting up into the chest. So you keep the standing leg in garudasana bent, which is kind of unusual for a lot of standing poses, but that's how it works in garudasana. And then release. Come back to the center. Spread the toes of the right foot really deeply. Bend your knees. Keep that standing leg bent and then bring up the left leg. So obviously we're doing this incrementally. We're just kind of breaking it apart. But bring the higher up you can bring that knee, the easier it will be to do the next stage where we cross the leg over. To lift up into the chest, but keeping that standing foot, that standing knee bent. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Just really be conscious of the toes that are pressing into the floor to help to balance. And then release. So the next stage is where we raise that knee as high as we can, and then we're going to cross it over so that we're kind of crossing our legs like you might do if you sit on a chair. So, excuse me, so I'll show you. So you bend the knee, you're going to bring that knee as high as you can, then get hold of it with the left hand and then sweep across from the crease of your shorts, bringing that bent knee around, and then you're going to try and hook the toes behind the knee. So I really struggle with this. This isn't my forte by any stretch of the imagination, but which is actually a reason to do it. So you got to really tuck those toes behind the knee. So let's do that together. So good idea to have something to help you to balance. If you need it, bend the knees, bring the right knee up high, and then sweep it across, keeping that standing leg bent, and then try and hook the toes behind the knee. So I struggle there, but if you can get the toes behind the knee, then good. So then you've got this top leg is becomes the same side, becomes the bottom arm. So you swing across and then interlock the arms. Press the palms firmly together, lift up with the hands, lift up with the chest, draw in the forearms away from the face. And then the more you push the hands together, the easier it becomes to balance. So the standing leg stays bent. Just breathe even deep inhalations and exhalations. Okay, and then just uncoil and then come back to the center. Just breathe even deep inhalations and exhalations. Just listening to the sound of the breath. So spread the toes of the right foot this time. We're going to stand on the right foot, bend both knees, and then lift the left knee as high as you can, and then sweep that knee across the bent knee, so we kind of overshoot, and then tuck the toes behind the knee. And then again, the bottom arm, sorry, the top leg becomes the bottom arm. And then find your pose, so lengthening the fingers up towards the ceiling. Breathing even, deep inhalations and exhalations. I'm not balancing very well today. Okay, and then release your legs, release your arms, and then come back up into Tadasana. Just feel the broadness and energetic openness of the chest. Feel the openness of the hips, and the shoulders. And then again, raise your arms up, hook the thumbs into the crease of the elbows. Bring your feet hip width apart, turning your toes in, and then again come forwards. Halfway, if you've got a bad back, resting your elbows on the back of a chair or a tabletop. And all the way down if there's no problems with your back. Just breathing, even, deep inhalations and exhalations. So again, garudasana is a really good pose for relieving headaches. Just releases all of the tension away from the shoulders and the neck. So let the forehead be soft. Let the tongue be soft in the mouth. Let the throat be soft. Let the jaw be soft. And then gently release the hands down to the floor. Bring your hands into the hips. And then just come up into Tadasana. And then come down onto your knees. Have the bolster for your head. And then come back up into dog down, resting your forehead on the bolster. So straightening the legs this time. Straightening the arms, straightening the legs. Keep the seat bones lifting upwards. Keep the fronts of the legs hitting through to the backs of the legs. Breathe even, deep inhalations and exhalations. And then come down onto your knees. Just sit back on your heels for a moment. Just observe your energy. And then just bring the bolster between the knees and then stretch forwards into Adho Mukha virasana. Stretching your arms away. Spreading the fingers, spreading the palms. Listening to the breath. So again, you can just rest your head on one side and then the other, just to stretch out the neck. Okay, and then just come back to sitting back on your heels, lifting up into the chest. Just breathing even, deep inhalations and exhalations. Okay, and then we're gonna do a headstand, and that sounds like a strange thing to do for a headache, but actually it's a good way to kind of relieve a headache. If you don't do a headstand all the way up, then you're just going to do the preparation stage. If you know that you can do a headstand and you can kick your legs up onto the wall, then you can do that. But otherwise, we're just gonna come onto our elbows. You can do this in the middle of the room because you're not going to kick all the way up. You're just going to do the preparation. So just have the elbows, if you're obviously use the wall if you need to, if you're going all the way up. Elbows as wide apart as your shoulders, and no wider, no narrower, no wider. So have the shoulders directly underneath your elbows directly underneath your shoulders. Interlock the fingers really deeply so that you stretch the fingers towards the opposite wrist, and then lengthen the fingers towards the knuckles. Lengthen the thumbs towards the knuckles, and keep the cup open. Keep the outside edge of your wrist down on the floor. And then bring your chin in to meet the chest so the top of the head comes onto the floor. Turn your toes under, and then do dog down legs. Straighten your legs. So the weight should be in your arms, not on your head. So lengthen from the armpits into the elbows. Lengthen the shoulders away from the ears. So just do dog down legs, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards, and just keeping the arms supporting the head. So you lengthen the armpits into the elbows. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Softening the jaw and the tongue and the throat. Activating your legs like you're in dog down. And then just come in and out of that stage a few times. And then once you're ready, I want you to lift your shoulders away from your ears as much as you possibly can, and then just walk your toes in. And try and keep your shoulder blades pushing in towards the front chest. Just coming in and out of the pose. Just doing dog down legs. And then walking your toes in so that your shoulder blades can push into the front of the spine. So we're not trying to roll all the way up. You could spread the toes of one leg and raise that leg up like you're doing ekapada, svanasana. So just come in and out of there. And if you're in headstand still all the way up, then gently bring yourself down. If you come out of the preparation stages of headstand, then stretch forwards into Adho Mukha virasana. So without the bolster this time, unless you need it for your head. Stretching your arms away. So if you've been up all the way, or just in the preparation stage, stretch out your shoulders. And Adho Mukha virasana. And then when you're ready, just sit back on your heels, lift up into your chest, just observe your energy. And then just sit yourself in cross legs. Just come into the cross-legged position. Hold on to your knees, lift up into the chest. Drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Take deep inhalations and exhalations. Lifting the heart area upwards, lifting the head upwards, elevating the neck out of the shoulders. And then with an exhalation, turn to the right side, drawing your abdomen and your ribs and your shoulders from the left to the right. And then come back to the center, lift up into the heart area, elevating the heart area upwards, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Take a deep inhalation. And then turn to the left. And then come back to the center, lifting up into the heart area. Bring your hands into Namaste. And then release. Sorry, I forgot Shavasana. So just come down onto your back. Oh, there's something missing there. So just come down onto your back. Have a blanket underneath your head. And then just lay yourself down in a good straight line. Have a blanket underneath your head. Just make sure that you feel like you're in a good straight line. Before we go into Shavasana, we'll just do viparita karanhi, so holding onto the edges of the mat and then raise your legs up. Just lifting up into the heels, turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. Just listen to the breath. Listen to the in-breath and the out-breath. Softening your jaw and your tongue and your throat. And then gently bend your knees, bring your feet back onto the floor to stretch Your legs out along the floor, just come up onto your elbows. Make sure you're in a really good straight line along the center of the mat. And then just allow yourself to release into the floor. Let go of the muscles of the arms and the legs. So letting go of the muscles of the arms and the legs. Just let go of the arms and the legs so that they begin to radiate positive energy out from the bones into the muscles, into the flesh and the skin and the organs. Use your in-breath and your out-breath to distribute that feeling of genuine energetic lightness down into the tips of the toes, all the way up to the tips of the fingers and up into the top of the head. Basking in that feeling of energetic lightness. And when you're ready to disturb yourself, just gently wiggle your toes Wiggle your fingers, bring your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom, just a gentle massage on the spine. And then roll over onto your right side, just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg, come back up into cross legs. So just sitting with cross legs with the hands in the masticum then. So sitting in cross legs with your hands in the masti, just a final spinal lift. Draw your breath in through your nose, down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice this morning, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions and the forward bends and the twists and the inversions bring to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to seek to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. So hopefully you feel like you've really lifted your energy. You've given yourself good, positive energy to put into your day. So thank you very much for joining me.